Welcome, everyone, to this targeted explainer of the QMS Term 4 appraisal cycle. We've customized this breakdown specifically for our school-based educators and leaders right here in the Bola Bela district. If you've been looking for a clear, no-nonsense guide to navigating the quality management system as we close out the academic year, well, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive right in.
So here's our playbook for today. 1. Welcome and acknowledgements. 2. The core stakeholders. 3. Term 3, review and develop. 4, the 5-step implementation plan. And 5, wrapping up the cycle.
Kicking things off with Part 1, welcome and acknowledgements. Before we get into the real technicalities of the ELRC collective agreement, let's establish our foundation and give credit exactly where it's due. I want to send a massive thank you to Mr. Sampodi Tonga for developing this remarkably clear, structured implementation plan that we'll be unpacking today. You know, bringing these comprehensive policies into a digestible format takes real expertise, and Mr. Tonga's framework is what makes this explainer possible. Quick check-in before the heavy lifting. How is the pacing feeling so far, Mr. Mugabe? Ready to jump into the actual playbook? Let's get to it.
Moving right along to Section 2, the core stakeholders.
To execute the quality management system effectively, we really have to view it as a collaborative team effort, and that starts with the principal. Their primary job isn't just top-down oversight, it's being the operational lead. They ensure that every single educator has access to the QMS instruments, and they guarantee that the system is running uniformly across the entire school. Next up, we have the SMT, the School Management Team. The SMT takes on the active, on-the-ground appraisal duties. They're the ones actually in the trenches, conducting the performance appraisals, which absolutely includes those classroom observations. Plus, they hold the responsibility of keeping the official records. Now, the crucial point here is that the educator is the absolute core of this entire process. It's a highly active role. As an educator, you're responsible for initiating your own self-appraisal before your supervisor even steps in. You also have to welcome those lesson observations and proactively gather all the relevant evidence for your evaluation. And yes, that definitely means organizing a whole lot of paperwork. But here's a really fantastic supportive element built into the QMS: the resource person. Sometimes an educator might just need a highly specialized perspective that their direct supervisor doesn't happen to have. In that case, you can actually request a resource person, another educator, to step in and offer specific subject matter expertise during the process. Finally, rounding out our stakeholder team, we have the circuit manager. Just like educators have supervisors, the circuit manager oversees the principal's performance. They agree on a work plan with clear annual targets, making sure there's a supportive but highly accountable structure echoing all the way up through the district level. All right, Section 3, Term 3, Review and Develop. Now that we know our team and exactly who is responsible for what, let's talk about our vital practice sessions leading up to the main event. Timing in the QMS is quite literally everything. It is incredibly important to understand that Term 3 is strictly designed for review and development. It consists of informal self-appraisals and developmental lesson observations. Think of this as a low-pressure practice round. It prepares our educators for the high-stakes formal annual appraisal and finalization of scores that hits us in Term 4. Which brings us to Section 4, the 5-step implementation plan. With our developmental practice from Term 3 totally out of the way, it's time to execute the winning play for the formal Term 4 cycle. We have a crystal clear roadmap here. It's a 5-step implementation plan. Interestingly enough, the collective agreement shows that these exact same 5 steps are shared across both the Term 2 mid-year appraisal and the Term 4 annual appraisal. This guarantees absolute consistency and fairness in how we evaluate. This step-by-step approach moves us so logically through the year. The processes for Term 2 and Term 4 mirror each other perfectly, guiding us smoothly from self-evaluation all the way down to the final submission of completed and signed instruments directly to the circuit or district office. I know there are a lot of moving parts here, Mr. Mugabe, but are we tracking well with how these terms map out? It's absolutely vital that the sequence of these steps is followed exactly. Let's break those Term 4 steps down into detail. Step 1 is the self-appraisal. The educator always starts the process by looking inward. Step 2 is the pre-appraisal discussion. This is a super collaborative, expectation-setting meeting between the educator and their supervisor. All of that culminates in Step 3, which is the actual lesson observation or classroom visit by the SMT. Directly following that classroom visit, we move right into Step 4, the post-appraisal discussion. This is the space for immediate, constructive feedback and reviewing all that collected evidence. And that leads us seamlessly to the crucial final hurdle, Step 5, the completion and signing of the QMS instruments. This is where the composite score sheets are finalized, so the principal can verify them for submission. And finally, Section 5, wrapping up the cycle. Look, in a perfect scenario, everything runs exactly on time. But as we all know in education, life happens. What happens if we run into unexpected challenges or absences during this Term 4 cycle? Well, the source material clearly states there is no automatic default clause for pay progression if you just miss the evaluation. However, there are valid reasons for a delay, things like displacement, maternity leave, or approved incapacity leave. But here is the absolutely critical takeaway. Even with a valid excuse, educators must complete the appraisal within 6 months of the cycle ending. If they don't, they will completely lose eligibility for pay progression. At the end of the day, while we've spent a lot of time talking about schedules, flowcharts, and score sheets, everything we've outlined today circles back to one foundational goal from the ELRC agreement. The ultimate purpose of the QMS is to genuinely enhance the efficiency, the effectiveness, and the performance of our amazing educators. It is fundamentally a tool for growth, not just measurement. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this pivotal question to take back to your schools in Bonabela. Is your SMT merely surviving the paperwork, or are you fully prepared to execute this Term 4 playbook seamlessly for actual, genuine growth? Do you have the schedule set, the evidence prepared, and a developmental mindset ready to go? Thank you so much for joining me, and best of luck with those Term 4 appraisals.